There we go. Good morning. I'm Judge Person. I welcome everybody to the municipal court, and I do want to let folks know a few things. When you're given a ticket or issued a citation, those are all methods that we have under the law for making an accusation. And I see a few people just still connecting. So just bear with us, because I do think that it's possible that, oh goodness, everyone bear with me. We're having a problem with the breakout room. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so I do welcome everybody to the court. Hang on just a moment. Sometimes technology is not what we want it to be. Folks who got moved into the breakout room, apologies. Something happened when I opened that room. So let me just explain what's happening. I'm Judge Person. Welcome to the Temple Municipal Court. I'm going to assure you right now that the chaos that started out with the meeting is going to get resolved, but I do welcome everybody to the court. I want to just make some brief announcements and then we'll get started. This is by agreement, the online system. It's nice because you don't have to come over and wait in a line. It's not always perfect, so we'll do the best that we can. And if things don't work, or if you would rather come here and get in the line in the live court, we can schedule that, okay? So just for folks who got accidentally moved into the breakout room, when I opened that room, we have a room to meet with the prosecutor, and for some reason, it just started up without, I'm just making adjustments. Okay, so I welcome everybody to the court, and I want to let you know that when you're given a ticket or issued a citation, those are all methods for accusing someone. That's what a ticket is. When you give a plea, you're giving an answer or a response to the accusation, and there are three pleading options: guilty, not guilty, and no contest. Guilty means I did this. Not guilty is to contest the charge. No contest is not admitting or denying the offense, but moving forward with sentencing. If you plead guilty or no contest, I move forward with sentencing. Normally that means you're found guilty and it goes on your record. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that in just a moment, because there are exceptions to that rule. If you plead not guilty, that case is moving toward trial, which means that the state is required to prove the case, and therefore we're moving that case into a trial setting. Today is like a check-in. We're looking to see if the case is resolvable without using that taxpayer money. It's not a problem to schedule trial, but courts have scheduling orders in order to be efficient with the dollars that we spend. So there's this meeting today. If the case is left not resolved today, that's not a problem, but we're moving that next pretrial into the things that we do prior to trial in a courtroom, things that are not appropriate for online activity. That can be things like discovery. That can be motions that are filed prior to trial. That is and includes setting a bond, me ruling on that bond, and you posting some sort of promise or bond to be in court. So those are all things that I don't think should be done online. I don't think they're appropriate for this setting. They're contested, and you have the right to be heard in a different format. So we'll move the case in court if it's not resolved today on that not guilty docket. And I've got a few folks on that docket today. I also will be meeting with folks who are here regarding one matter or another. They might already have been sentenced or not, and it just depends on where your case is, and people's cases are at different places. and we'll work on that together. So I do want to let you know a couple of things. As I talked about a moment ago, the different sentences and the directions that they take, I highlighted that a person can then, if a person pleads guilty or no contest and I'm sentencing them, there's payment of fines and costs and it goes on your record. So first, a word about payment of fines and costs and a word about the financial affidavit that you may have been requested to fill out. You probably were. I use that information in the bond setting for contested cases where you plead not guilty, not because I assume you're guilty, but because I'm supposed to look at a bond at a certain point in the schedule of that case. I look for the same exact information legally for sentencing. And so it's just one form because I don't really want to have like 4 forms that give me the same information where you just change the top and make people keep filling it out. One time, update it when it needs to be updated, and we're good on that information. So you may have been asked to fill that out, but I also use that when I'm sentencing people to figure out if adjustments need to be made to the payment situation. So that's the reason why that happens. And also there is an opportunity to talk to me about that where appropriate. The fine is a set fine that is presumed to be appropriate, but I look at that information and I balance that, okay? The second issue is having the item go, and there are really a couple of issues that can happen with regard to your record. So that means that even though the law says you're found guilty, it goes on your record, there still are 4 ways to gain a dismissal. They are compliance dismissals, driving safety course options, deferred dispositions, and team court. Compliance dismissals are things that can be brought up to date and dismissed. Each one has its own little set of rules. I won't go through them all because I would absolutely bore you. An example, though, is you're pulled over because you have a headlight out. You're cited for having a headlight out. You come to court on time. It's fixed and you prove it, and you pay a $10 fee. So that's an example. So I will be looking for those because the law says basically the judge will dismiss if the case can be dismissed, if I'm presented with the proper proof. You might not have known that you could present that proof. So if I see something like that, I'll be looking to see if we can get you to that dismissal. You are welcome to ask because it's your case and you should if you have questions. But on that, I'll be looking on that issue as well as you. 2, driving safety course options can be used or elected if you qualify for that process and the violation allows for it. So it has to be a moving violation or a rules of the road offense. You have to be on time to court. And then I start looking at what kind of license and from what state and whether you've been to a class and so forth. The benefit is that if you do the course on time, the right course on time, the right record gets turned in on time, then your ticket gets dismissed and you don't have it on your record. You only pay the court costs and the course and the record. So let me explain that statement. When you call the clerk and you say, how much is this ticket? And the clerk will say X dollars. And that means that your fines and costs are included in that whole number. So if you called and you got a number, it was the whole number. The court costs are set by state legislature. The fines are set under the authority of the judge. That would be me. In the driving safety course option, you pay the court cost. The fine goes on hold. If you get your costs and paid on time, your proper course and proper record turned in on time, your case gets dismissed. It's cheaper than paying the whole ticket, and the item is not reported as a conviction on your record. And that's an incentivized program because we know that people drive better after they take a course. That's just true under the metrics where we study this stuff. So that's why the legislature keeps that in place, I think. Okay, third, and that one again, I'm looking to see if you might be qualified. The third one is a deferred disposition. Listen up, this is different. With a deferral, the way that works is that if you are asking for a deferral and I grant it, there's a way to gain a dismissal. Deferred disposition is the terminology that we use in law. And I go ahead and use it now because it really does explain it. Deferred means to delay. Disposition means to make final. I delay making your case final. I put some conditions in place in writing. If you meet those conditions, I dismiss your charge. You'll know what you have to do to get that dismissal. You request a deferred at the time that you enter a plea. If you want the judge to consider the request, the judge in a Class C court can say granted or denied without explanation. Okay. You can also, if you're on the pretrial docket, you can talk to the prosecutor. If the prosecutor is willing to do a deferral with you and you are willing to do a deferral on the case and y'all come to an agreement as to what the conditions should be, you can bring that request to me and most of the time I will approve it. Okay. So that's how that works. You can do it on either side of the docket, so to speak, in a Class C court. Okay. In higher level courts, you can't. You only can ask the prosecutor and bring an agreement to the judge. In a Class C court, you can ask, and if it's the type of case, there's a small window of cases that need the prosecutor's approval. If you ask on one of those cases, I'll move that over to a request with the prosecutor's input. Okay. So we'll get the prosecutor's input where it is needed or required by law. And I won't go real deep into the reasons for all that, but that's what we'll do. And then the fourth one is teen court. And if you're a high school, middle school, homeschool, or GED student, I'll be kind of pushing teen court on you if it looks like you might be qualified and a good candidate for it, because it's very successful. You save money, it keeps it off your record, and you're less likely to be seen in a court like this one again in the future. I count that as a success. So I'll be pushing it because it's the best program. Okay, so that's the 101 of how things move through a court. Remember that I cannot give you legal advice. If your case does not yet have a plea accepted by the court, you are able to go get legal advice. We don't court appoint counsel in Class C courts, but if you need time to meet with an attorney, you just say, Judge, I need some time, and I'll give you a recess, and we'll come back on a different day. We'll reschedule your case for a couple of weeks. And if you hire an attorney, your attorney shows up with you. If you don't hire an attorney, that's fine too, but you need to come back on time or we go into warrant mode. So if you need that time, let me know. I will assume that you don't, and I will move forward with your plea. If your plea has already been accepted by the court and we're working on your sentence, we don't do an attorney reset on that case. Okay. So that's the 101. I'm going to go ahead and start the pretrial docket. Mr. Matson is the city's prosecutor. He works for the city attorney. He is the equivalent of a district attorney at the Class C level. Mr. Matson, can you unmute and introduce yourself, please?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ryan Matson. I'm the prosecutor for Temple.
Thank you. Your first person that you'll be speaking with is Frank Lee Makuda. Frank Lee Makuda appears to be labeled Frankie Makuda. And there's also a Stephen Makuda. I'm just kind of checking in on what that's about. No, those are two different cases.
No, it's the same case, Judge.
Okay. Who are we speaking with today?
This is Stephen. And I reside at the residence where the violation was. Frank Makuda doesn't, but he's also listed as a homeowner with me. So I was trying to see if you could exclude him from the case.
Okay. I'm going to first ask Mr. Matson to meet with the named party on the case, Frank Makuda. And then if he wants to also bring you in, he's going to come back and let me know. Because, actually the only person legally allowed to discuss the case with him is Mr. Frank Makuda. However, there may be circumstances that he will articulate to the prosecutor. And then, I'll take a cue from both parties if they agree that you're going to go into that meeting. Okay. Okay. Well, you don't have to agree. But that's the way I'm going to do it. Mr. Matson, I see you coming in again. It's really strange.
Yeah, Judge, I'm on my phone right now. I'm rejoining with my computer.
I see. So I'll let that one in and then you'll hang up.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, I recognized he was having some technological stress a little. It's not letting you in yet. It's supposed to be. I'm going to take a moment to organize my files. Okay. Mr. Matson, I'll move you over with Frank Naputa at this time.
Thank you, Judge.
Did you hear all of that?
I did.
Okay, very good. Patrick Hamilton, I know you're on the telephone. Can you unmute and let me know that I can hear you? Phone callers often take longer. Could you unmute your phone, Mr. Hamilton?
Can you hear me?
Is this Patrick O'Neill Hamilton?
He ran to the restroom real quick.
Okay. What I'm going to do is let him know when he comes back that he's approved for community service for his request. And are you at the front desk with him?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Hamilton.
doing?
How are you? Yes, I'm well. I'm Judge Person. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Okay. This is a no driver's license charge, and I did receive a plea of guilty to that charge. And the fines and
Yes.
costs are $181. Is your plea guilty at this time?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm approving community service based on the information that you provided, and the clerk will have community service information to hand to you in just a moment. If you'll continue to wait at the desk, we'll get that to you shortly, okay?
Okay. Could it be like at Feed My Sheep? Because it's kind of like in the area that I stay in, and it's not far to walk in the sun.
That's a good question. Yes, it can. They're actually on the list of places that we work with frequently. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's 9 hours. And right now I have a due date of August 17th, which is a month from today. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to let you hang up and work with the clerk, and they'll be with you shortly with that paperwork. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank
you. And have a
you.
wonderful day.
Yes, do you have any questions before you go?
No. When I start the community service, they'll be signed. I'll get it signed off every day that I work.
Yeah, we're actually,
there.
the clerk is actually going to
Okay.
the clerk is going to bring out your paperwork, and that will include a timesheet for your hours and a list of places and rules. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And I'm moving forward with William Miller. Mr. Miller, can you unmute and let me know how you're doing?
Okay, I'm here.
Hi, how are you today?
All right.
So I did receive a timesheet from you on your community service. Yeah, I don't know where you were going, and your supervisor didn't sign off on the hours. So right now I can't accept them, but I might be able to. I don't really know enough to know if I can. Are you, where are you doing the work?
That's at CTLC.
In the past, we have not had any issues with them. It does look to be about 9.5 hours that you have right now. There are a number of hours, as you know, that you're required to do. My understanding is you are asking to have more time. And I just wanted to meet with you to make sure you knew that right now I can't credit those hours yet. It looks like I probably will be able to. I can give you one long extension to September 19th, and let's see if we can make some progress and get some hours turned in and verified, maybe get it done even. I can email you a new timesheet. I'll accept copies of your old timesheet, but the new timesheet will have your due date at the top. Do you understand what I'm telling you?
Yes, and since I went and talked to the clerk, I was able to go and get that information filled out. I just haven't had a chance to take it back by the clerk.
Okay, I'll accept them all anytime from now until September 19th. The email that we used to set up this meeting this morning is where I will email the new timesheet and, just keep on going. Okay. Okay. You can turn in hours anytime before or on that date.
All right.
All right. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you. You're good
Thanks.
to go. Mr. Mattson, let me hear from you. Where are we right now?
Judge, I figured it would be most efficient to have Mr. Makuta come over and join us.
Okay, I thought you might, but I just wanted to make sure that you were really clear rather than me getting really clear and hearing a bunch of stuff I shouldn't hear. Okay, sending him over. Mr. Makuta, I'm moving you over to that meeting so y'all can have that discussion.
All right.
All right, thank you. And I also am moving forward. Samantha Atkins or Akins, can you unmute and tell me how you're doing? Right now, I just can't hear you, even though you're unmuted. I have my volume turned all the way up. How about you? Still can't hear you. Do you have a microphone that works? So I'm going to go ahead and have a one-way conversation with you for a moment because I think I can still help you. I'm Judge Person, okay? And periodically, I'm just going to ask, do you know what I'm telling you? And if you do, say yes. And if you don't, I'll keep trying. Let's just do it that way because I have some good news and I'd rather get that out to you. So I did receive your information. Thank you. You're on time to court, which is very important. You did send me a no contest plea for an accusation of theft under $100. If you paid that ticket, it is $296. You qualify for what is called our first offender program. And that means that we would schedule you just basically for a return visit where you do need to be on time. But at that visit, if you have presented to the court, it would be easiest if we do this online. It's easiest if you present it like you email it in a few days before or the week before a completion of a theft intervention class. It's an 8-hour class. You do take it at your own expense. You get the class done and turned in on time, which means before court. I then am able to sign a dismissal. You don't pay the ticket because it's the first offense where we've seen you. We find that we don't see people again if they go through this program. It is therefore beneficial to the community that you not pay the fines and costs, that you get a dismissal if you do what you're supposed to do, and it keeps it from being a conviction on your record. This kind of offense can deeply affect future employment, and you're not very old yet. Okay, So we want to widen that future back up for you with you have to do your part. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Okay, so let me go back through it just a tiny bit. What would happen practically speaking today is that I'm going to need your signature on a form. That form is going to explain to you that you have a deadline for a course. Are you with me so far? Okay. The course will give you a list of places that we are acceptable, and it's 8 hours of course due on a specific date, which is going to be August 17th. You take your course, you give us proof, and I sign a dismissal. Does that make sense? Okay. I noticed that you live in Holland. Is that true? If I email you what I'm needing you to sign, can we use the email that we used to send the meeting link for today? Can you then, print it, sign it, and email it back? Okay, so we'll email that to you. We get it back today. It gives you what you need to get your course done. If you did it this week and turned it in Friday, Monday, I'd probably sign a dismissal, but I need it no later than August 17th. And you're going to want to log in and make sure that the case has been dismissed, that we received what we needed prior, so that I can sign that dismissal. This is a local program with the local prosecutor, Mr. Matson. And this is all like a pre-approved process that he and I have come to an agreement about what is best for the community. And so you're qualified to do that program. Do you know what I'm telling you? Okay, then we'll email to you, and it's really going to look like an extension plus some stuff about how to find a class and when it's due. And it probably will come to you in the next hour, I would say, or less. And our new due date for our new meeting is August 17th, okay? All right. Any questions? If so, you could type them into the chat bar. If not, then you're welcome to hang up. And thank you. Okay. And then Louis Mbote, I'm probably saying your name wrong, but if you'll get online and tell me how you say it, that's going to help me a lot.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm well. Thank you for asking.
All right.
I did receive a plea on an expired motor vehicle registration charge dated June 1st. The plea that I received was a plea of guilty and a request for community service, which I'm thinking that I can grant. We'll talk about that in a moment. Is that your plea at this time, the plea of guilty?
Yes.
I have a quick question before we get into sentencing. Have you been able to register this vehicle, or are you in a position to get it registered?
I don't have the money. I don't have a job. I can't find a job. I do little jobs here and there, like painting a building or something. Like the temp servers all say, like, I'm not qualified to work. I don't have the skills.
Oh. Well, do you qualify for some training for work? Like work training?
I'm on probation right now. I got that to pay off. I try to find a job on Craigslist every day.
What I was asking is whether probation can help you get into job training.
They gave me some papers to go look for work. But I applied and I just sit here and wait. That's all I can do.
Okay, I was looking to see if you qualified to be in job training program because I can count it as community service. Are you qualified to be in any of those programs?
I don't know, but I do it. I don't do nothing else all day.
Well, I don't know how to connect you to those services. You would talk to probation about it. That's one option. I have a list of places where you can do the community service that are already pre-approved. Okay. And it's 8 hours and it would be due August 17th. And you can, if you want to come by and pick up the paperwork, I can make it available to you that way. There is one thing for you to sign.
Okay.
So when can you be at the court?
Later on today.
Why don't we say 2 o'clock?
Okay.
Okay. You can come earlier, but we'll look for you on or by 2. Okay.
All right.
All right. We'll see you then.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Now am I free to go?
You are free to go now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matson, do I need to bring the Makuta folks back over?
Yes, Your Honor, they're both ready.
Okay. I will. Okay. Mr. Matson, let me hear from you. Are we on the Makuta, Frank Lee Makuta case?
Your Honor, I'm going to be dismissing that charge.
Okay. And I will sign the dismissal. And Mr. Makuta, I will send a copy of that dismissal to the email that we used to set up this meeting today. Will that email still work?
The Frank Makuta at gmail.com.
Is that the one you're on right now? Like where you linked over from?
I guess I'm just on my cell phone through the Zoom call.
How
It
did
is.
you? Okay. I just assumed people knew what they opened to click.
I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Okay, hang on.
Judge, just to make sure we're on the same page, there are 2 different citations, one for Frank Makuta and one for Stephen Makuta.
Okay, I just have Frank Makuta on my list, so let me verify this email first. I got to do one thing at a time, or, I have a system that won't let me. Okay, Frank Makuta at gmail.com. So
Yes.
that case is being dismissed. Is that right, Mr. Matson?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and we'll email to that one. Can we? And we're looking at his profile. He is scheduled for today. Let me get that open. No, here it is. Okay, and then on Mr. Stephen Makuta, where are we with that matter?
Your Honor, that case will continue to final pretrial.
Okay, that is scheduled for August 23rd at 2 o'clock. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. Sirs, thank you for your time today. And it looks like we're narrowing the issues down. So, Mr. Frankie Makuta, I'll send the dismissal to you. Mr. Stephen Makuta, we'll see you in August.
Okay.
Y'all are
Appreciate
both
it.
free. Yes, sir. You're both good. to-
Okay. Thanks.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Matson, I'm moving you forward with Carrie Mellor. Carrie Mellor, can you unmute and tell me how you're doing today? Okay. Good. I'm going to move you over to a meeting with the prosecutor. Thank you. After that meeting, you'll come back over here. Okay, I've moved that over. And then if I could talk to LaShonda Alexander Childress, if you can unmute. let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, how are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Okay, so let me just tell you where it looks like we are. I did receive a plea of guilty to a no insurance charge dated from June 13th with fines and costs of $281. Is that your plea at this time for that charge?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll come back to that one in just a moment. There was a speeding 50 and a 30 charge, and I received a plea of guilty to that charge. The fines and costs are $259 set.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your plea at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My first question is, at that date, at that time, were you insured?
No, ma'am.
Okay. How quickly did you get insurance?
I still haven't gotten insurance yet, as of late, because I don't have the funding to be able to afford to buy some right now. I am looking into some low cost ones, but it's with my finances being what they are right now, it's just a little hard. It's really,
Yes, ma'am.
Money is really tight right now.
Yes, ma'am. I did see that from the income information that you provided. And before we go any further into that, I still have some more questions, but you are going to qualify for community service, and we can talk about that in just a moment, okay? My next question, because I really am required to go ahead and ask it. Have you been to a driving safety course in the last year for purposes of getting a ticket dismissed? Okay. And I'm kind of assuming that payment of fines and costs, the costs are 140. Yes. No. Thank you. The costs are 144. And to qualify for that program, you have to have a regular Texas Class C license. You have to have current insurance, and you have to pay the 144. I think I know that that's not possible to do today, but I just want to confirm that you're not qualified for that program because I'm required by law to ask about it.
Mm-hmm.
So is it safe to assume that you couldn't provide 144 and insurance and license today?
No, ma'am. I do
Okay.
have a Class C.
Right. Okay. That's good. I did need to know that. Thank you. But I can grant a deferred that would keep it off your record, which is the same sort of thing. It's just that we would start talking now about what that deferred would look like. Is it your request to keep that off your record at this time?
Yeah, it is. I suppose.
Okay.
I mean, I filled out a form to
Yes, you
try to
did.
qualify for the payment plan, but because that's really what I need to do. I mean, it's hard to, like I said, my finances being what they are, it's very hard to try to get any of those things paid off right away. So
Yes. Well, community service, the way that works is you don't pay it. You go and work it off. You go and work it off, and I give you credit financially over here. But if you want to do that, the way that it would work on the speeding charge would be 13 hours. And the way that it would work on the insurance charge, it would be 14 hours. So that's a total of 27 hours. And I can work with you on the time. I could give you 60 days with the due date then of September 19th.
okay.
And it would be a condition of your deferral that you get your hours turned in and that you show insurance around in about 60 days.
Okay. Is there a way to do it here in Killeen? Because that's where I live at, is in Killeen, Texas.
So yeah,
Is there
there's a way to do it, but you have to find a provider. And that means that you need to find a current up-to-date nonprofit organization in that community that I approved before you get started. I could give you,
okay.
I would give you a couple of weeks to look for a place. I've got a form for you to go to them and get them to fill it out with you. You turn it in by your deadline, which would be August 1st. And then if I approve it, that's where you do the work so that you're not driving over here. I don't require that you drive over, but I do require that it be pre-approved, nonprofit, up to date in the state of Texas.
Okay.
Churches, nursing homes are good bets, but they aren't always up to date. You've got to check in with them.
Okay. I'd have to find a place there.
Yes, you do. I can't go all over the state and find one in every community. My difficulty with Colleen, I used to try to do that, is I would find something and it would change or they would go out of date. The last one I had, and it still was pretty good. There are a couple of nonprofit food banks over there, and there are a couple of nonprofit animal places.
Okay, I'll try the food bank. I know where that is.
Yeah, see if they're a nonprofit. So we can email the information to you today for that, but I think we did not get an email address from you. Do you have one?
Yes, it's LaShonda Childress at Gmail.
That's LASHAWNDA.
DA. Childress at Gmail.
CHILDRESS.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If I email all of that to you, there's one form to print and sign, and you can email it back. You can take a photo and email it back to the email that we, are emailing from. Can you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm just making some notes about our conversation. Okay. Do you have any questions? Do you want to do a deferred to keep it off your record? Or do you just want to? Okay. So that you'll have to sign and print as well. And is that on the speeding charge or the insurance charge?
Well, they gave me two forms that I have filled out.
Right, but you didn't ask for a deferred on either one. So we're doing that verbally. And that's another form that you would have to do.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I could do it on the insurance charge, I guess.
That's fine. That would be fine.
Yeah.
I could do it on both.
Okay, I'll do both.
Can we do that? We'll send those to you. There'll be two forms that are deferred. They run from today until November 16th. And I need insurance on the insurance case, just showing that you got some in 60 days.
Okay.
And you can email that over. And that's the same day that you're giving me your hours for community service. But if you want to pre-approve a place, that's by August 1st. Okay?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll email that all over to you and we'll look to get your signatures back today. Okay?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
You have any questions?
No, not at this time.
Okay. I'll let you go.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. You're good to hang up. Mr. Matson, I know that you talked to Carrie Mellor. Can you let me know about that, where we are with that?
Yes, Your Honor. So there's actually a couple of different things here. First, Jason Mellor is the man next to her. He is actually wanting to claim responsibility for the dog, said it's his dog. She just went down to the shelter to sign for it and didn't know that that would mean she was also cited for the dog being at large. So I can file a motion to amend the complaint that lists him instead of her. And he has indicated that once that has been done, he would like to plead no contest to the charge.
Okay, procedurally, we can't do it that way. We have to dismiss hers and a new case has to be filed.
Okay.
And how that would work then is, Mr. Miller,
Yes.
the contact information that we have for Carrie Mellor, is that your same contact information? Like if I'm mailing to, no?
Yes, it is.
It is, okay. So when I receive the new charge, you'll receive a summons in the mail. And that's when you know it's been filed. This one being dismissed will be happening today, but a new charge will be filed under your name. And when that summons comes to you, if you don't receive it in the next 2 weeks, you need to call and check on it, okay? Because we're going to mail it out to you. And then that's your cue once the case is filed to come on down and make a plea and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Is everybody clear what we're doing?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Mattson, you actually have authority to do a sworn complaint and just make a filing. So you can decide how you want to do that. That's your call.
I should have it to you sometime today, Judge.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. And we'll all go in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Harry Mallor, you are good to go. We will email the dismissal to the email that we used to set up this meeting today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mattson, Daniel Pruitt is waiting for you at this time. Let's see, I've got a. Okay, I'll move that y'all over to that meeting. A little strange to not hear from Mr. Miller. Maybe Mr. Mattson has heard from him. Have you worked in the new system yet? There were issues. Okay, Mr. Matson, where are we with this case at this time?
We are going to continue to final pretrial, Your Honor.
Okay, August 23rd at 2:00 is our pretrial date. Is everybody clear about the next date here live in the courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Matson?
Yes, Your Honor, I'll be there.
Okay, Mr. Pruitt, you are good to go today with the thanks of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Matson, have you heard it all from Mr. Swain?
I have not. A rare non-appearance by Mr. Swain. I wonder if he's feeling unwell today.
Okay, well, we'll look for him August 23rd. And probably reach out to him. And see.
I would not be surprised, Judge, if he either emailed me or called me sometime today or this week and we were able to get it figured out.
Let us know if you hear from him.
Absolutely.
Yolanda Gallardo is a no-show. I'm just
Mhm.
checking in that you don't have anything else.
No, Judge, I have her marked as a no-show as well.
Okay. We'll look to see her on August 23rd at 1. And that's all I have. I'm looking, I have a continuance request from Mr. Miller that you're aware of, and I did grant it earlier today. I went ahead and that got rescheduled to the next jury trial date, even though the case might be going away.
That sounds perfect, Your Honor.
But since the agreement was not confirmed, I went ahead and just moved it there instead of to another pretrial.
I believe that that would be the best course of action.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope, today's docket was pretty straightforward.
Pretty light.